西摩西。游戏的画面刚刚没抓到。哦，等等哦。大家晚上好，有声音吗？应该有吧，还得有。一跳出游戏的视窗，马上就没声音了。好的，先跟大家打个招呼，小狼犬、小风姐、福茶、认认、待机感谢。姐晚上好，认认晚上好，腾腾晚上好，小狼犬晚上好，茶晚上好。那么我们今天要开始玩的是，等一下我调整一下东西。今天要玩的是 The Forgotten City 遗忘之城。然后这游戏基本上就是右边有说，如果你们想要自己享受剧情的话，就请跳过这一次的那个直播之类的。反正就是好像挺推荐自己玩玩看的。然后如果你们懒得自己玩的话，就本游戏是由一个3人为核心的小队4年玩，一起报立定开局，整座城的最近场持续各域的冒险。好的，就是暴力是一种手段，可是它没办法让你达成最后的目的。然后听说这个游戏是用那个上古卷轴的，我刚刚说这个一下，上古卷轴的。
Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are?
对这个角色可以一级放角色，因为只是用模组而已，不是整个游戏。选择肤色，这个吧，等一下。
Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river? What's the last thing you remember?
最后，看看。开始选择，还可以选择职业哦。我当时在寻找古代遗迹，多年的历史研究使你偶尔可以洞察古代世界。你拥有制式武器，但是只有10发子弹，由于不能补充弹药，你必须斟酌使用。我当时在逃亡，你躲避抓皮虎的经历，使你的脚步更力度冲刺时速度提高15%。你近期的头部创伤经历提升了你疼痛耐力。疼痛忍耐力，抗击打属性提高50%，健忘症。
Oh, you're an archaeologist? Then you'll definitely want to hear this. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some ruins just behind you. Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped, or injured, or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him? If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please?
夜晚上好。所以他被要求绝对不能进去那个遗迹，可是同伴太久没回来了。
Of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy. I just.
赛哥晚上好。
What do you want to know? Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean?
他的脸吗？ 因为是游戏的模组吧，真的要讲的话。
Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you. 他没有很想告诉我名字。All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey. It's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
Karen.
You're welcome. Always happy to help.
只有嘴在动。
Was there anything else you
你
wanted
刚
to
才
ask?
看起来其实没有什么表情吗？
He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess
那你
not.
之前
But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is.
所以他是另外一个被冲上岸的人。所以我们到底为什么被冲上岸
You really don't remember?
意大利
We're in Italy.
这条是
This river is the
泰
Tiber. Not much,
不太了
really.
解，不过是罗，
But
好像是
imagine what you
罗
might
马的。
find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me. Great. So you're ready to go look for Al?
他好像有稍微嘴角上扬一下呢。
Thank you. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Please, hurry.
台伯河就是罗马
and
的起源，
he
知道
left
吗？
this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
原来也是河里来的，对，大家都是河里来的，大家都是桃太郎。哎呦，对，太用力会，我怕会闪电晕。你这样子，对我有点担心，等下会闪电晕。那没关系，反正就真的闪电晕就休息，可以用可以用滚轮来举起你的手电筒。大家都是桃太郎，可是这里没有鬼，也没有鬼岛。进入遗迹。我有点担心我等下会闪电晕。没关系，在闪电晕之前就尽量玩吧。这游戏好像有一些神话梗，不过你就让我慢慢玩吧。但是我可能不是很了解神话，那么多神话就是按住 Shift 进行冲刺。フォルさんこんばんは。放下手电筒。背包装满了登山服和空的食物包装，在没有什么有价值的东西。但阿尔把它留在这里很奇怪。你确定一定是他留下来的吗？移动好，灵敏度有点太高了。走的动作好，很妙。阿尔的笔记。
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence
世人最早
is
以
long
无人知晓，
forgotten.
他所有
All
信
knowledge
息
of it
已
lost,
丢失在
except
历史长河。
in the Latin inscription here.
史书的拉
It
丁
reads,
文铭
You
刻上
who wish
写
to enter the city, step forth
说踏入此人者
and be
上前接
judged.
受审
The
判。
virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find
或者人
themselves
将沐
showered
浴
in
黄
gold,
金，由
but
此
in
长
vain.
眠。
For this shall be their final resting place. Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this
就
time?
地下古城一直以来
People
幸
have
存。
survived down there, against the odds. It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this
如果1个小
an
时没有返
invitation,
回，代表我已经到别人的领地。
a
这是一
warning.
个警告。
Alworth.
阿尔沃斯。哦，突然就掉下去了，会累的，它会卡一下。在水里面会有氧气的问题。寻找秘密城市的入口。阿尔沃斯。对啊，感觉那样跳，感觉超级用力的，可是感觉又跳不高。黄金看起来都是是 whisper 轻语，你是谁？边该不会都是人变成的黄金吧？检查，一人作恶，众人受难。所以我的，等一下，所以因为我是考古学家，所以我可以读一些东西，所以我刚开始选的职业会影响我可以知道的一些情报，是吗？看样子是这样。所以就是变成黄金这件事情是连坐法的意思吗？一个止步不前的罗马的角斗士是什么能让一个角斗士也想逃命呢？所以其他的雕像也可以检查吗？可以。一个在哀悼的年轻罗马女人。路上的才可以检查是吗？我看看，对，只有路上的才可以检查，那种在边边都不行。这不科学，它是钉在那边吗？不然这样子单脚不是很容易倒下来吗？不过这个看起来很懊悔。open。刚刚是不是有点破图？这游戏居然 Why you are here？ 一个年轻的罗马女人像是在祈求饶命。你为什么在这边？是什么东西在跟我对话？按 F5 可以快速储存 ，F9可以快速读取。了解。一个罗马军指挥官正在仓促的逃离什么？一个恐惧的罗马军团士兵。 单单只是逛地图啊，其实还蛮像去遗迹里面探索的。哦，不能跳出去，他的脸很好笑。应该是用那种没有棉花板过的那个，放掉。经过的雕像好像可以互动，我看看，可以吗？哦，可以耶，好的。一个罗马女人像是在祈求永远不会到来的帮助。然后，这个是阿尔吗？哦，好了，先互动一下。刻有文字的石板。一座身着现代服饰的老人金像，这一定是阿尔，但怎么可能呢？
To whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. Worse, you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. And here there are only two options: death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
建议你比起去解决事情，不如直接死在这边比较实在一点。所以到底是……哦，爱生笑叶子，晚上好。你可以听到我吗？刚刚这个可以互动吗？看一下，但是我觉得应该都是差不多。一个罗马女人恐慌不已。好，希文晚上好。现在已经很近了。先走。那个跪着的罗马男人似乎是在祈求他的神明饶恕。记得存档。我觉得到这边应该还没有到正式开始，那没关系，就存吧。刚刚已经有存档了，传送门。按 Tab 可以随时查看你的任务日志和物品。哎咻！可以按 P 来进入拍照模式。哦，它还可以让你悠闲的拍照。使用滚轮来切换手电筒和武器。好的。勿忘穿过那扇门，回到过去。哦。一座罗马浮雕描绘的一个巨大的圆形入口和两个女人，她们是谁？点击任务旁的眼睛可以查看目标日志。起源点：我穿越了数千年，回到了过去。我必须找到一个方法回到我原来的时间线，找到返回你原始时间线的方法。 也许把我带来这里的人可以帮我回去。你说阿尔吗？还是那个 Whisper？
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime? You're not from around here, are you? Oh, I see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who are you? And what were you doing in the shrine?
加里乌斯。我要讲实话吗？还是撒谎？不对，突然一个人跟你讲说我从未来回来，只会被当神经病而已吧？要选哪一个？应该是怀疑我在偷东西啊，毕竟是神殿嘛。或者是怀疑我在神殿里偷偷做了什么事。
What?
拉丁语。
I'm speaking Latin. You are too, although your accent's a little strange. And you've just done it again. You're a sly one, aren't you? One more time. Who are you and what were you doing in that shrine?
要说迷路其实也不算错啦，我在时间线上迷路了也没错吧？可是我突然跟一个人说我从未来来，他只会把我当白痴吧？
Oh, is that right? Well, just make sure you don't get lost in any other sacred places you're not supposed to be. Can't have you disrespecting the gods by accident, can we now? But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just
只要
fine.
遵守法律，我们就可以友好相处。你们的律法
Not laws, law.
这里的律法就一
There's just
条
one,
黄金法
the
则，触
golden
犯它的
rule,
惩罚是
and the punishment for breaking it's, well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming?
应该要请他带路吧，毕竟第一次来嘛。哦，土司晚上好。换，请带路。
When I first arrived, I couldn't
点
believe
击
there were people
跟
living
随
down
你的
here.
向导。
But as you can see, we've got a nice little community
那
now.
个不错的街区。
Only 23 of us at the moment.
但像消失的3个人，
we're
我
missing.
们目前已经有
No idea
23
how,
个人，
since
不晓得他
nobody
们
knows a
怎
way
么会
out.
不见。
But it's just big and dark
因为没有
enough
人
to
知
get
道
lost
出去的
in
路，不
if
过
you're
这
not
里很
careful.
暗，地狱又广，要是不小心点可能迷路。
Aren't you going to introduce me to your handsome new friend, Galerius?
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
Politics. I'd stay clear of it and her if I were you. She's, it's not my place to say.
刚刚左边
Down
是
on
那
your
个已
right
经变成
is
黄
our
金了，右手
farm,
边的是
where I
农场。
grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat.
前提是你想要只有葱、韭葱、卷青菜
The
跟小麦。
bloodless shadows
你写的
wander
这个
without flesh
排
or
华流
bone.
当。
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since.
他应该知道我是，
I don't know what happened
应该说刚刚那个
Up here on your right
应
is
该
the
知道我是从
chasm.
未来来的
If you've got a
那种感
weapon,
觉。
it belongs
这边是
way
地图。
down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and
因为这
scrounge
边
up
有古董
since.
嘛。哇，
And this central
刚刚那个
plateau is where
又
the
来了。
magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Galerius, you're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy.
这边有很
Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please. I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the golden rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the
为
election
选
later
举做
today.
准备。所以他们这边应该是一段时间会用选举来决定执政官，大概。
The only thing you really need to understand right now is the golden rule.
以前唯一需要了解的就是黄金法则，不晓得我这么说你能不能
When I
听
was
懂？
serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong. One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective.
哇哇哇哇哇！
We call it
唯
decimation.
一抽查率，
That seems like rough justice to you. You're in for a
因为
rude
黄金
shock.
法则比它严厉10
Because the
倍。
golden rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. Who's up these stairs?
居然，
Oh, another one fresh out of the baths, I take it. Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want? I'm Emptyer, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that? Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive
本地丰
mastery
富
of our
的准确把
customs.
握。
Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation?
斗鸡眼，哎，真的有斗鸡眼。
Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what
真
happened to
地他做了
Scintilla.
什么事？
I wish you
哦，所以
mouth
他应
breathers
该
would just
是失踪的3
leave
人
me
中的一个
alone.。I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have
大伙人在没有
disappeared from a
出口、没
city
有
with
犯罪
no
的城市里
exits
怎么
and
失
no
踪？
crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies?
第五次圣地亚、圣地亚，你们明智人物。
It was
在
3
周
weeks
前一起
ago.
吃晚餐。
We ate our evening meal together, and I remember she seemed happy, in love. We went into our rooms. I went to sleep. And
啊
when I，
该
woke
不会
up,
去幽会，然后人就
she was
这么
gone.
不见了吧？
That's it. I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me. Because our father had
Oh,
plans to marry
no.
her off, eventually, and even a rumor about her attachment to some mystery man might have ruined those plans.
政治联姻，真的听到
I
这个
don't know.
懂
But
了
it's
什
been
么？
3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience. All I know is, whoever he is,
因为
he's
谁
still
都逃不
here
出
in
这
the
个城市
city.
吗？
You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman
哦，
women
对
are named
哇，
after
女
their
性都依
fathers.
照自
I
己父
think
亲的
it's
名
their
字
way
取
of
名。
branding us, like cattle to be
这是真的
sold
吗？
at market. His family name is Sentius, so I'm
Yeah,
Emptyer
so
because I'm the
Emptyer.
eldest. And my little sister is formerly Emptyer Minor, but she is affectionately known as Scintilla.
嗯，
Why? Because I'm on this couch and not pacing about the villa, wasting energy. I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance. Ugh, you're awful. Get out of my
Oh.
villa and never speak to me again.
好凶！
Do I need to ask Horatius to escort you out of here?
啊，我好像惹他生气了。哎呀呀呀！ 我好像把一条线弄断了，糟糕。刚刚那个不应该选的。那没事没事，反正应该这个游戏应该不会只轮跑一次，应该轮回好几次吧。
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name?
May I know your name?
A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great
哦，这个应该会依照你的那个
We're
选的那
always
个
happy to welcome another scholar to our little
职业来叙述。
Emptyer will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains many hundreds of years ago.
百年前建于深山之中。
Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous
过去
community
的7个
we've
月
built
里，
here
建立了一
over
个
the
奇迹一
last
般的社
7
区。
months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin? Nor could I until I came here. But the reason for this
也开始跟你讲黄金法则了吗？
is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin
哦，如果有任何一个人
here,
犯罪，
every
大家都会
last
死。
one of us
不
will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were,
一人做二，
left
众人受呢。
inscriptions warning, the many shall suffer for the sins of the one. From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away.
因为有人准备要犯罪了，所以这些问题以后还能问。这里对罪行的
An
定义
intelligent
后，
question. There was a good deal of debate about that
是
in our
犯
first
罪还
weeks
是某
here.
种定
Does
义
it
模糊
refer
的
to
罪过？
crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on
不
the
能窃
basics.
盗，不能斗
No
殴，不能
theft,
杀人
no。assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about
意见也
lying,
不太一致，撒
insulting
谎、侮
someone,
辱、窃
blasphemy,
赌、狂不民宅、
trespass,
逃脱、
trying
受
to
贿、
escape, bribery,
偷窃或自
infidelity,
杀。
suicide. As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen.
先以
And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries.
我觉得想下面这个会符合法律的事情，不见得符合道德，这都是
Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years she has borne great statesmen,
追根
philosophers,
究底的学者
poets,
性格很容易
artists,
惹
and
怒别人。
engineers. we have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the
不过这基本上
Mediterranean
就
and
是
beyond, from
他们站在
Gallia to
高位
Judea.
的。
All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so
谋
on.
杀、殴打。
No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric?
你们不是施行集体惩罚吗？
I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist,
一批
whispering
人拒绝接受
blasphemous
房间法
and
在暗中散布
treasonous
那些当年不
lies
到的谎
in
言。
the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you.
为普洛塞拼啊，是
You
奥甘的
see,
春
in
春
my
神吗？
search for a way to save my people, I learned of an
那
ancient
是掌
ritual
管生命
to
动物与新
Persephone,
生的女
the
神。
goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's
Wow.
shrine, I
对，他其实
knew
知
that
道的嘛。
person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you?
No.
2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us, of this city?
好吧，
I
可以讲实话吗？
have imagined it, our downfall 1,000 times, but it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it. All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina.
献给
I stumbled across instructions.
依据
I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is
变气
involved.
活生。
Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life
比
of
普
the
通的还昂
person
贵许多，太
performing
多
the
去
ritual.
举行仪式的
I
人的生命
don't。suppose you saw any sign of me in the future?
在神殿里看到的遗体。
I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you? Well, I suppose that's all I can ask
因
for.
为我根本不晓得是谁会犯什么罪啊。而且真的要讲的话，你有说不定不止一个人会犯罪，这是一个问题。
Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking
Oh.
people questions.
因为你是
You're
新来
new
的，所以你
here,
问的问
and
题很正
it'll
常。
seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of
刚
course,
刚
you
才
get
刚
off on the
惹
wrong foot.
惹你女儿生气。
Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the
我才刚惹一个人
independence
生
of
气啊
your investigation, the
哇
better.
哇哇哇哇！
So you know about that already. It's a devastating loss, of course, but that was over 3 weeks ago, and whatever happened to her, it didn't break the golden rule. So I don't think it's connected with our...
我是在想说，那个黄金法则会不会有漏洞？
Still, if you happen to find her and return her to me,
就是没有
I
人意
would
识到
be
他在犯罪的情况
eternally
下就不是
grateful.
犯罪之类的。
If I understand Persephone's
如果
ritual
成功
correctly,
了，
that
这
problem
个问
should
题应该
take
迎
care
刃
of
而解。
itself.
哦，
Let me see
因为
if
如
I
果
can
成功
explain.
了，他们就不会
If you
犯罪，
manage
他
to
就不
prevent
会
the。sin that breaks the golden rule, I won't need to bring you
可是这样
here.
又会产
I
生
won't
但
create
时
the
间悖
portal,
论嘛？如
and
果
you
我
will
没有回
never
来这
be
边，我要
able
怎
to
么把它
come
解决？
here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be
同时，所有
flung
人的
back
过
to
去
your
都已
own
经被改
time,
变。
having changed the past for all of us. Make sense?
啊，虽然说也有就是穿越时间拯救世界唯一的坏处就是没有人会记得这件事。我记得是好像有说过这句话的，不知道在哪边听到的。
Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the golden rule? Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately. Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
将优先处理新任务，经显示新目标。哦，所以它就会帮我标志物品库黄金法则，就有可能打破黄金法则，并通知行政官。对于妹妹失踪似乎表现得太过漫不经心。创造一个时间悖论，我就会被扔回自己的时间箱。我觉得这东西啊，不一定。真的要讲的话，罗马的英语都有文字石斑。今天换的音效超大声吗？等一下哦，我设定一下设置，应该是。50。等，音效调到50。不是音效。哦，这个吗？用户界面。有比较小声吗？哦，好像有。因为我记得有的时间悖论是会直接让你这个人消失的，所以你要说到底会是直接把你丢回去，还是让你这个人消失？唉，不晓得啊。先当成会丢回去吧。我好像已经惹他生气了。
Do I need to ask Horatius to escort you out of?
好吧，我觉得我跟他已经没法对话了。好的。所以不可以随便选那种会质疑人的选项。像刚刚行政官我说，你们不是挺野蛮的吗？好像他就有点快要发飙了。今天我的父亲建议我写日记，让自己有这个妹妹突然之中令我们全家非同比作为一个孝顺女儿，我当然会遵从。接下来几页包含我内心最深处的秘密。父亲，我知道你在看我，虽然年纪小，但不要觉得我蠢。我们也有自己的秘密，兄弟啊！哦吼！哦，里面有钱，钱就算了吧。检查。一个小瓶子装有鲜花和油制成的原始香水。红镜，化妆罐。 哦，以前是没有镜子的，所以是用磨光的头来当镜子使用的。种植盆，湖泊只是一个现代全球湖泊的前身。造纸与可无关，产之铜制的火柴，听起来有煤炭味，闻起来有煤灰味。按 X 获取指向目标的标记。哦，所以会有类似那个导引标志的导引的东西。
Ah, you've returned. Do you have any news? Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians. It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform. As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent. My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple.
石学士晚上好。
Probably figure out the rest.
哦，我在想说，刚开始引导我们那个女性，该不会就是神秘人吧？你是怎么当？
I was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well. I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the golden rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question. Thank you. I'll be waiting here for news.
第一轮应该就先照着引导跑吧。路上，陌生人。哦，是。
What were you two talking about? Don't play dumb. I saw you. Having a shady little chat with old man Sentius up on his balcony. What's he offering you? Money? Favours? What's your vote worth to him? What else would you be murmuring about on election day? Mark my words, Malleolus is going to be magistrate by the end of the day. And if I tell him you've sided with that feeble old has-been, that you've been trying to undermine his hard-won victory, You'll have picked the wrong patron. Got it? Good. Then stay out of it. Nobody likes Caput Murde foreigners interfering in an election.
这 Murde 这是什么意思啊？啊，没办法啊。
Can't hurt. The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus? You go through me. Why? Because I am a gladiator.
啊，他就是那个逃命的角斗士啊。
When Malleolus wins the election, yeah, this place will change. You won't even want to leave.
哦，他是刚开始变成黄金的那个角斗士。
I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected. We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Just stay out of our way, and we won't have a problem. Malleolus, of course. If old man Sentius can't even protect his own daughter, how can we trust him to protect us? Too bad. He's busy. Unless... No. You don't look like
还
you
有我
could
贿赂
afford
他
it.
吗？等下贿赂算不算？
I'm glad you asked. See, he's a busy man, and this is an important day. He'll be inside practicing his victory speech for tonight. Left me strict instructions he doesn't want to be disturbed. So if you want to see him, I'll need something valuable in return.
找出进入麦列勒斯载体的方法。
Dunno. Something good.
Something good.
Bribe? That's such an ugly word. What I'm looking for is more of a tribute to me, your soon-to-be patron.
哦，留我晚上好。
Just make it good. Whatever. Just remember, I'll be watching.
这游戏最刚开始要认识所有角色，这点应该是最火上了，进不去。这边应该就是他说的麦丢二师的家，他也没有挡我啊。嗯。
Hey, you're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you? Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh, why do I have to do
有
everything?
人跟你说过汉尼拔说哦，
So,
在
there
水
was
帘
this
下
guy
等吗？
called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go
Oh,
down into the cisterns looking for
Hannibal.
junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian,
且太
right?
激人。
Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground, and hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie, I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed, and it was eating Hannibal.
这游戏还有惊悚。
What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others. Without a weapon? Well, it's your funeral.
嗯哼，会有怪物。哦，真的有哎。
Help
击不会让他受伤吗？哦，离开之后就哦，好的。喜欢慢慢回吗？哦，会。那看起来不像，那看起来不像是变成黄金雕像的人，还没有完全变成黄金雕像的人。Why you're here? 我看先照着主线的顺序走好了。真的到处绕，应该会绕很久吧？这游戏感觉内容蛮大的。
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step.
鲁菲乌斯。
Can't talk long. Got to stay sharp, but family's from Seleucia on Tigris, Babylon province. And I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions, the 6th, the one they call Ironclads. Same way as everyone else. Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious? Magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid. Going to have to improvise now. If you were dealing with what I am, you wouldn't be either. None of your business. Introiti ipsum commensula. If we have to. If I did, do you think we'd be having this conversation? I'll tell you this much. I hate the fact that my survival depends on the common sense of other people. I mean, all these people just bumble along like nothing's
一旦有人
wrong.
做出了哦，就有
Well,
人
we're
选完。
one
所
bad
以
decision away from
现在的
being
黄金雕像
wiped
应
out.
该是前一批的。
Like the last lot of people who lived here. Seems like I'm the only one ready for what's coming. Whatever that is. And when it hits, it's everyone for themselves. You've been warned. I don't know. But did you ever get the feeling some of these statues are watching us when we're not looking? Like they're waiting for something. I don't like it. Of course I am. Meliodas. Not sure I trust Sentius.
哦，果然他少掉一个女儿这件事情。
Protect his daughter in a city without sin. How's he going to protect us? No. Whatever.
Whatever。真的我会看吗？其实有点好奇。所以他们是特地把那些人都还给他排坐上去吗？
Give me a moment. Sorry I'm such a mess. I just lost a patient and a dear friend. Julia. She was a good woman. She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, And he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly. Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall. But there's no way I can do that down here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath. Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day, or in the next hour. And I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen. Because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that genetricum fututor and scratching his eyes out. Then you'd better get me that silphium quickly, hadn't you?
真的是哇哇哇哇哇！一副原始的医疗器具，包含镊子和大剪刀。这边的人都好可怕哦！一座阿波罗的石雕像，罗马和希腊神话中师长疾病治愈等方面的神明。托瓦伊亚，门锁上了。
Greetings and salutations. Greetings, I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most extraordinary. Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail? Then you are an explorer, like me. Wonderful. You must have many stories to say. I cannot wait to hear them. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps? My story? How kind of you to ask. I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forum. You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule, and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all? I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance of looking one's best. I say, the more of our customs we preserve down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping our heads. Don't you agree? Oh, and there is another reason too. If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at, I don't know about you, but I would like to look my best. A good question, a very good question indeed, and I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself. I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and drawing a coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once, but none of that compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing. When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa.
泰伯河岸边，你顺着。
Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight. I believe it kept me afloat. In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated by a benevolent
新
stranger.
的陌生人救回来。
I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am. Anything you like.
怎么大家都有被一个人救？所以该不会刚开始的那个，对，凯莉吗？我像是凯莉吧？该不会是某个生命吧？
Shh! Not so loud. What are you playing at? Have you not been told about the last attempt? Oh, then I suppose this duty falls to me. Ah, it is a long story. Of course, the first question any of us asks when we first arrive is, how do I escape? It is only natural after all. And scaling the chasm wall is out of the question, for it is simply too steep and too far. But as they say, if the wind fails, use the oars. And here the second option is to leave the way we came in, through the shaft above the bathhouse. See, the shaft is quite high, but if one gathered up enough wood, one could make a series of ladders and climb one's way out. They have. I am getting to that. There was an attempt made by resourceful fellows who lived here some years ago. They even decided to keep records of their escape attempt for posterity. Unfortunately, as soon as they began to carry the first ladder down the hallway, they heard a godlike voice shake the entire city.
哇，想逃离也算犯法吗？
Is where their tale ends. So it seems that to merely attempt escape is to invite the wrath of whichever god oversees this place.
连逃跑都是犯法吗？哇哇哇哇！那还真是，哇哦！
Ah, yes.
一人作恶，众人送
The
恶。
many shall suffer for the sins of the one. As a Greek, this is not how our gods operate. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld. When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act, lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The golden rule has merely brought it into focus.
稍等一下哦。
If we are to survive, I say we must each keep the simple wisdom of Thales of
我觉得游戏文本量有点多哎。 玩到几回啊？
What you would blame others for doing? Regrettably, I think you are correct, my friend. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act. Ah, the voice of experience. I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the golden rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing, do they not?
3D 版的文字 ADV 有可能。
That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Domitius if I voted the wrong way. Nothing comes to my mind, my friend. That, my friend, is quite the dilemma.
点错了。
But after some But of course, I hope that our...
所以不要想着逃跑，因为逃跑是触犯法律的。哦，这个是刚刚那个。哦，那个是摊贩吧？可以自由取用。物品栏一条面包。哦，罗马人的面包食谱：一大丛酵母，一丛盐，2杯半温水，1磅面粉，搅拌完倒入水，酵母溶解，倒入面粉，逐渐加水和盐，搓揉面团，直到它既不黏也不面。不面是怎么样？盖住面团，放在烤炉附近的温暖地方1个小时，让它发酵好。将面团烤至外皮金黄，然后冷却。哦吼，简单易懂的面包教学。
How'd you do? Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Dacius. Terrible shame what happened to you here, but we just have to carry on, don't we?
第一次做罗马面包就上手。
Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii.
Denarii, 1000 denarii.
Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it.
有东西，俄语抢走它。
Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Navia on our hands. She claimed the statue was whispering to her. Nobody else could hear it. Then she shut herself in the palace and we never heard from her again. But I digress. Do you want this Sylphium or not? That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work hard and save your coins, you should be able to afford it within, say, 5 years? Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your budget? You mean, how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale. All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave, fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome just off the forum. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, hoping to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing for a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done.
他一定选择了手推车。
Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money. So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber. Naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here, with nothing in the world but a single silver coin. Thank you, friend. But it turns out it might have been a stroke of good fortune, because this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you. There must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here. I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia down at the tavern
酒
claims
馆
to know of a
的
way
奥
out, but
雷利亚知
I'm
道
not
出
sure I
路。
trust her. Some people here are a little shady for my liking. It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least
是
down
连
here.
你自己都变
Of
黄金就
course,
花不
I
到
have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk. Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means you'll need to be a little discreet. Thank you, friend.
他想要攻干嘛？想要做掉别人吗？
Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe.
大家的
I
论
hope
点
there's
都
the
一样
ever
哎，
protecting us.
你连自己女儿都顾不好。
Certainly. Very well. Another time.
但说想想也是，你连自己女儿都顾不好了，要怎么顾别人？乌鸦，哎，奥皮乌斯那个小偷偷走了我的钱包，我这个人没能写完。
How'd you do?
这边是他的摊位吗？偷窃会不会触犯律法？不晓得，说不定会直接迎来第一个结局，不一定。控诉书。 维吉尔，你真的想要毁掉我们所有人吗？维吉尔，维吉尔是谁？
For the last time, Dacius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it.
窃盗不是会违反黄金法则吗？不晓得，因为大家不晓得黄金法则代表的犯罪是指什么。不，
Ah, a new face. Salve.
所以才会用他们自己的法律去决定什么事能做，什么事不能做。
So you can just call me Virgil. You arrived on a sad day, friend. What with Julia's death? I wish we could have met under better circumstances. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome.
建筑师。
That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from
比较
collapsing
像
on
维修
people.
工。
That kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means
我在想说，那些黄金雕像该不会是会抓交替吧？就是
there's one thing that puzzles me.
有人犯错就换你们当下一批黄金那种感觉。
Isn't Roman at all? It's Greek.
不是罗马的。
I'm not sure. It could mean that the Romans who first started building here were just copying Greek architecture, which they do all the time. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And
而且如果像这样讲的话，说不定我们要遵守的律法是希腊的律法，不是罗马的律法。
talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell. Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh
哦，
water
水路啊，
coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake and allows us to fish and farm. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it.
找到进入上部蓄水池的方法。
You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course.
Of course.
You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But I'd tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the Golden Rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway. Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Noviomagus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans.
Oh.
Some people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so
你会
wrong
注
to
意到
you.
其他人似乎在做非常错误的事情，但对这个神奇似乎并
Doesn't
不在
seem
乎
to。care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you? Good. Then I hope you'll agree that there are only two ways of dealing with unfair rulers. The first is to leave. The second is to remove the ruler from power. And it seems leaving may not be an option. Good question. It's best if I say no more, but I hope you'll give it some thought.
我觉得他也在预谋些什么。
Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking.
看不惯我喜欢和
Somebody
男人在
just
一
has
起
a problem with my preference for male
所以这
company.
位是
Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? Sorry, that was mean. Yes, I like men. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi. Nice of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong. It's not just graffiti. I have quite the collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists.
邪教徒
Strange bunch. They insist there's only one god, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused. Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
啊，还继续卡住了。哦。但是。哦哦。控诉书，控诉书，这里也有控诉书。我知道你是谁，想干什么，但我们所有人因你的罪恶受难之前离开这条路。维吉尔，你真的想毁掉我们所有人吗？箱子里的那个东西，那张，哦，一堆。维吉尔遇到的威胁，谁在威胁？秘密仰慕者的线索，覆水难收，云宫，后门之谜，进入宫殿的方式，上锁的载体，冰石船型。就这边应该有很多的人需要你帮忙解决事情，让你去取得他们的信任。只是我刚开始就因为质疑行政官的女儿，让他对我不爽。商人，我动不了。俄语。就是这边的规则是，只要有人犯罪，全部的人都会变成教堂，都会变成黄金。俄语会指引你。
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
偷东西就会触犯律法。 天地无私。哦，大家的眼睛都亮起来了。哦，摔死了。只要跟你形成关系，就可能出现上一个存档点。带入游戏，对，偷东西是不行的，了解。3点半，刚刚那个吧。摔烂，对，摔烂。你要自己去摸索出法则。可是毒死人可以，偷东西不行。它这里面的律法。加载中。哦，应该是自动存档。刚刚，对，应该是自动存档，因为它存档量好像蛮多的。啊，不过还有盖住。哦，不对，现在是。快跑！跟着那个行政官。哦，搞错了，搞错边了吗？等一下哦，快跑！跑！我们要重新达成第一次不远了。对，俄语，刚刚有一个俄语叫我用偷的，然后有一个这个俄语会带我，所以其实俄语不止一个。以身试法，对，以身试法，因为它其实你完全不晓得它条目有哪些东西。Looper。然后身上的东西，会留着。居然会留着，你可以洗钱的意思吗
？Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what? Oh, I guess so. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device.
他做的装置哦，背手把手。
Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang onto the handles. If it works,
越过湖的
it'll
绳
be
子
faster
上
than
抓住
walking.
绳子是。
And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake.
哇哇哇！
Just
跑！
keep
跑！
your
那个是不是虫洞，是时间裂缝。
Don't worry, it's completely safe.
Complete
Probably.
Probably.
All right. See you around.
You're around.哦，可以直接飞过去。哦，这样子。哦，东西都可以偷来吗？好像，有松子。真的会留着居然。他是挡住不让我进去吗？所以这个应该是要
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his
以为
threefold
是刚刚那个
braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
刚刚我是从哪边？我记得是从某个楼梯下来的入口。这个楼梯吗？不是，这边是广场。刚刚是从哪边冲下来的？冲太极。哦，翻译：禁止偷窃，禁止伤人，禁止。写下这句话的人显然没有写完哦，所以不能偷，不能伤人。啊，该不会那个写那个字的人就是黄金法则的设立人吧？哦，对，不能偷窃，不可以伤人，不然就会启动机关。好的。
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cumulatus Decius won't give it to me. What? Quick, give it here. Yulia.
哦，这次救到人了。我没有先去找执政官，而是先冲过来，他就来得及救到了。有没有可能写下法则就会把它？有可能。
That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle? A what? I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. I think it's your accent because it sounded like you said time traveler. But whatever kind of traveler you are, that was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need. I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filming ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up. My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked, and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear.
大家都在罗马召回那
And
天
then the
跌进
fires
来的
came.
吗？
As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke, and the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here. It's all right. Say what you will about this place. At least my fornicating husband will never find me. And while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it. Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease.
在掌管
But
疾
the
病的
god who
里面
inflicts
开诊所
us is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose
对啊
praying to
阿波
Apollo
罗
for
是掌管
healing
疾病的
kind
神
of
吗？
makes sense.
不太神吗？
Well, she used to run the clinic.
助产士不是
She
医
was a
生？
midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good too, until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But I
已
had
经是
no
知道些
idea
什
what
么，
she
然后
was
就被灭
talking
口了吗？
about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the
哦
door，
关
from
在
the
宫殿里的
inside,
那个就是他
and
吗？
nobody's seen her since.
哦，他不是
She's
失
been
踪
gone。so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering
风
from
湿
terrible
关节发炎
rheumatism. His
并伴有
joints
持
are
续疼痛。
inflamed,
哇哇
and
哇
he's
哇
in
哇！
constant pain. I really shouldn't say. He wouldn't like it. And he's a little bit scary. He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off.
哦，
And
我
I
在想，
worry
该不会
he'll
就是
end
执
up
政官吧？
losing his temper and lashing out.
应该
And
是
you know what
执政
that
官没错。
means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace. Thanks, I suppose.
肉中刺，
I wish some people here need proper medical care, not the
对他是不
half-baked,
晓得
hanging by a thread excuse for
而且
treatment I'm giving them. Just don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can imagine.
嗯，对，执政官现在很暴躁，对
A
吧？
city without sin
不存在
might
这件
sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an
哦
attempt，
我
to
觉得有可
create
能某
some
种
kind of
乌托
utopia.
邦的试验场，
But
我觉得有可
snakes
能
like。Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it?
迪修斯，
Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands. Oh no. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you, but no, that is definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talking to her. But that was Nevia, and she went a little mad. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician. But until she suddenly lost all interest in
哦
us.
这边好像讲
One
过
day
了
she。told
迪
me
哦，
she
迪修
made
斯
some
就是那个黑心商
profound
人吗？
discovery
啊，对对
about
对，
the
是。
code. This changes everything. And then she's been. But I read one of my patients. He's become so irritated. I just know. Thanks. Sure. What do you want to know? Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have broken the golden rule, and so maybe it's best we don't discuss it. Gladly. That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Yulia's life.
哦，醒来了。
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out.
看起来没有很想被救起来。
Thanks for trying to help me.
你眼神在飘哎。
Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest.
我觉得光是要把这边的20几个人的故事全部看完，就要花很
As
多
much
时
as
间。
I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk about it. Please, no more questions. The golden rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler.
艾律勒斯，
Please, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it.
哦，我觉得所有人都是那个我们那时候在河岸遇到的那个人引过来的。
Persistent as Nemesis, aren't you? I can tell you, but it's a long saga. All right. I'd been here about a week. When it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did. I had to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon, it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. You want to know what it was? Hemlock. Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes, and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning. That's what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the golden rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those debts. So he locked me in his villa, confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock. I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid.
When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him. I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you. All right, but please don't take... If that's your idea... I know what kind of person you...
哦，一点错东西啊！哇哇哇！不小心点到就会……啊，算了。
May Apollo keep you safe.
我只是不小心点到而已啊，他马上就生气了。
Feeling all right? That's a shame.
哇，刚刚带入游戏，我不晓得是什么时候哎。等一下好了，我觉得刚刚那个点歪让我有点。所以自杀不违反法则，看样子是，因为你没有。可是自杀算杀人吗？在蛮多法律里面应该算杀人的。不是因为他刚刚他已经跟我讲他的出血方法是自杀了，结果我还跟他讲那个，他觉得我在
羞辱他。Apollo smiled.
Oh, as much.
我稍微。
The goal, please. All right. I had to. Drink it. That's what I said. I just want. I brought. When I've on. I doubt it. A lot. He's if so. I doubt you could make it up. I don't. All right. Our priestess Equitia once told me it's the god's way of creating a city without sin. But if that's the case, then whichever god is responsible for it didn't think it through. I mean, all it really does is make bad people better at hiding their sins, and good people too frightened to stand up for themselves. I've seen Malleolus, Claudia, and Domitius make grown men cry. Romans. They don't cry easily. They've never physically hurt anyone. But the point is, they don't have to. They've got people running scared because everyone knows Malleolus is the favorite to win today's election. I doubt it. I mean, the election is today.
我得到处去做人情，让他们投给另外一边的行政官就可以了。
I suppose we will. All right. Thank you again for saving my life.
好的，然后那个档，哦，快要12点了。今天应该先玩到这个，我们光是所有人的
May Apollo keep you safe.
所有人的故事都听不完呢。哇哇哇哇！这游戏感觉分量很多，可以好好的玩一阵子。大家辛苦了。不过今天的话，其实有一些事情讲，等一下，我先切到那边去。大家辛苦了。玩这种文本很多的游戏，应该蛮累人的吧？不管是玩的人还是看的人。然后真的要讲的话，怎么讲？最近是有在怎么？因为之前有跟白熊家的人大家聊聊天，稍微讨论了一下，就是关于我的那个名字的东西跟那个 tag 的东西，名字都已经用这个了，基本上应该是没办法改了，所以说不定就会加个中文字什么的。不过大家也知道我现在的 FA tag 是那个哎呦助かる。当初会用这个，好像是有人提的，觉得还蛮有趣的，所以就用了。不过后来就是怎么讲，听那个就是跟白熊家的大家讨论，他们说这个东西其实蛮不容易联想到我的，所以其实有在考虑要不要弄个新的 tag， 也不晓得大家有没有什么好意见。现在征求好像有点晚，都快12点了。晓得大家有好想法吗？我看还是先放着好了，先放一边，找个时间再征求退歌，这礼拜再征求看看好啊。我觉得今天应该大家都累了吧，满满的文本哇。这游戏我玩起来是觉得蛮有趣的，不过不晓得看的人会觉得怎么样，就是毕竟就是对要一直看故事，还是干脆不弄掉。那个是什么东西？等一下，これは何？哎呦哎呦，没事啦。感觉这个名字就是有什么典故的东西，还是只是随便弄的？好，那么我想想看，现在狼谷跟腾腾应该还在阿吉那边，然后猎狗还在，露营还在嗷嗷那边，大家都还在忙呢。好，真的是越开越晚，希望他们没事。那今天应该就先到这边了吧？ 大概我想想，应该差不多就到这边了。明天的话，不晓得狼谷会不会开台。今天真的越来越多人，当初我开在礼拜二就是要避开人，结果今天越来越多人开台，可是开在别天又会跟白熊家的冲在一起，真的是哇！算了，反正开都开了，就这样吧。那今天应该就差不多到这边了，大家辛苦了。还没要睡的，你再去或者是Twitch那边看看大家的台。好，要睡的就祝你有个好梦。那么我们就转结尾咯。这个的征求我再看看要怎么丢吧。应该先丢Twitch吧？不对，先丢Twitter，说错了。先丢Twitter，然后跟大家征集，然后再看怎么办。那就先这样吧。大家辛苦了，我就转结尾咯。嘿。那么我看从哪边开始？从最上面的赛高，晚安，我要是你，雷沃晚安，我要是你，古斯晚安，我要是你，姐晚安，我要是你，福他晚安，我要是你，然后爱生笑叶子，晚安，我要是你，古斯晚安，我要是你，雷沃晚安，我要是你。我有谁没讲到吗？然后我好像有重复讲到呀，应该我看看，应该差不多了。大家辛苦了。小峰晚安，我要是你。那么一样，下礼拜二晚上10点会继续玩《遗忘之城》。那么我想想看还有什么。差不多的，明天狼谷应该会开台吧，大概。那么大家晚安喽，拜拜。